it doesn't make sense. Like,
what?
And I know, but she like her whole thing is want to fuck. And
what is it supposed to be?
It's like okay. Here's the premise.
Waterfall
would get me to not want to fuck more than somebody going fuck.
Let me see if I can just find it.
How many take fives in your mouth, lady?
Is there
fuck.
You're eating mothballs.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah. What's your teeth situation? If you're going fuck.
Yeah.
This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to.
And you're listening to.
It just makes
This just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris Hansen.
Yeah, seriously.
Some people do this for the love of the game. I think that we just do this so that we can drink on weekdays.
Every day is a day of reckoning? What? Because of a 30-yard pass for a first down, Gus? And he looks me up and down. He goes, "You're hella vaccinated up, aren't you?"
You know what else is rude? Both of you talking about how you went through a fat phase, and I don't know when I'm going to get out of it.
We're 30 years into this.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not applying myself, huh?
The show about conspiracy theories made by former lovers.
They make you want to scream. It just makes sense.
It makes me want to scream, fix your audio. You're on episode 95. Get a mixer.
That's a teaser for season 3. That's the energy we're bringing.
Sportsmanship is way overrated. Winning is what's rated.
Tell me something right now. Are you missing some gums?
Listen, I wish I could just find this. I realized that we're recording now. I started this story before we were.
Well, that's all right.
But anyways, this woman, the tagline is she comes into the frame and says, "Wanna fuck?" And it's herself. I don't even know how to fucking explain it.
Is it on Twitter, Instagram?
I think it's like TikTok and Instagram. But it's like her talking to she's talking to herself, but in this clip she's playing someone else, like her girlfriend or whatever, trying to convince her to have sex. But she has this like British like English, Australian, the southern combination of an accent. It like doesn't. There's God, now this is gonna really bother me.
Is it like what Harry Styles did in that new movie where he just switched his accent about midway through the movie? That's what someone told me. That's what you guys told me. I didn't watch the movie.
Oh, don't worry, darling.
Don't worry, darling. Yeah.
Who's dead?
Well, as you look for that, Miguel was asking me earlier tonight what Thanksgiving songs that there were, because there's so many Christmas songs. And the first one that came up when I typed in best Thanksgiving songs was some kid songs. So the gobble, the turkey trot.
Yep.
Such a star. Step side to side, reach high and low. Wiggle your shoulders and make a pose. Repeat side to side, high and low. Shake your feathers and point your toes. Now say gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. And strut, strut, strut.
And a strut, strut, strut.
Do a wobble, wobble, wobble. And then we got stuck.
No. Please make it stop.
And then we got stuck.
Wait, hold on.
Wow. If you brought that up thinking that you are having a counter against my point, you just proved my point even more. Is that something you're playing in the car?
At dinner. There was an article that says the best Thanksgiving songs of all time to keep dinner humming. One of the songs that came up was not necessarily one that you would expect unless you're a sports fan. The Lions and the Bills on Fox.
You're gonna wake up your kid.
Neither of you guys have you don't have your headphones on. That's why. It's not that loud when you're in these headphones here. Let's see. Hungry Like a Wolf, Duran Duran. How about that?
That's considered a Thanksgiving song?
Hungry Like a Wolf.
So anything that's food related.
Just anything that is like adjacent, right? Then there's Kool and the Gang Celebration. There's, let's see.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
I'm Just Snacking. We Are Family by Sister Sledge. So I guess when you think about like specific Thanksgiving songs versus like
there's none.
There are words that make sense for this, and you see your family around this time.
Well, and it honestly led me to believe that if the Turkey Trot is the best available Thanksgiving song
Gobble,
out
gobble,
there.
gobble!
Yeah, we heard it.
Okay.
There looks like there's a market that has a ton of availability for something new. And, we're all, talented, like at least at a below average rate.
Sure.
So not none.
Speak for yourself.
So
we could put out a Thanksgiving banger.
You want to do a little Mad Lib of a Thanksgiving song right now?
Stuff me.
Stuff the turkey like I stuff your mom.
Stuff me.
Okay. No bad ideas in brainstorming.
We're in beta.
We are.
We're in beta.
Master beta.
Regardless, the song
I think that's
is
2 weeks in a row that I've been able to use that joke.
Oh, you dropped a little.
The song is going to be
in
built
here.
around stuffing.
Yes, I mean, there's
Stuff
only
your face, stuff your turkey, stuff your face, stuff your turkey, stuff your face, stuff your turkey, stuff your face.
He's
stuff
really
your
trying to find a
turkey.
new thing to say after that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't think of anything else besides stuff your mom.
Yes,
sorry.
That's what I went there about 30
It's
seconds.
pretty on brand with
Keep up.
most rap songs today, though. I mean, that's 4 lyrics, two lines.
And all songs need to be are like 2 or 3 minutes these days. You don't have
It's
to have
very
like
true.
power ballads like back in the 90s. Like if you couldn't put out a 5 minute and 36-second song, don't even try and make an album.
Those are the songs you find
Seriously.
for when you're getting a lap dance. What's the longest song?
Yeah,
you
Oh,
can squeeze
yeah.
that 20
Bohemian
bars out of?
Rhapsody.
Right.
Can you imagine being the guy who requests Bohemian Rhapsody at the strip club?
And the Galileo part, I want you to twerk.
Galileo.
What was that?
That was
Yeah.
stuff your face, stuff your turkey.
Do
stuff
you
your face.
flap your arms like wings when you twerk, Peter?
Yeah, it's a full body operation is what it really is.
You know what's really fucking annoying about social media is on these For You pages, you'll get caught in these little, wormholes.
Vortexes,
And you'll go, and you'll see these people like this fucking woman that I'm trying to describe.
I think you can
I
never
see
find
her
again.
6 times a fucking day, and now that I want to, I can't.
She's not there.
What is that?
They know you're looking for it.
But if they knew, they'd want me to see it.
Wanna folk?
They're only available on
That's
certain times of the day.
exactly what she sounds like. Wanna fuck?
That's like someone asking you to bang with their mouth full.
I'm going to work right now.
It's not like this girl. No.
No, she has like this signature. A lot of times she'll have this like red polka dot, like scarf that she ties under her hair and like ties up top. She's very skinny, kind of has a mouse face. Oh
And
my
she's
gosh.
eating a pumpkin
and she
pie
wears
going,
a
"Won't
shirt that
fuck."
says "Won't fuck."
Won't fuck. How does she spell fuck?
I thought it was F-U-Q.
Won't fuck. Is this what we're gonna do? We're gonna search.
Yeah.
For,
I mean, it's gonna bother the fuck out of me. I'm sorry.
you know what else is wrong with social media? People just drown in it.
Yeah, dude.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Cool. I'll be here.
Yeah. We'll just have
What,
to.
do you have something to bring to the conversation, sir?
Oh, we turn into that because you're both drowning in your fucking phones, you pieces of shit.
That's all you got to say? You got nothing else?
Yeah, you got fucking
Nothing
pointed out.
else?
You got
We could
called
just
out.
go straight
Nothing
to your
else?
punishment tonight, Juan.
Whoa.
We could just.
Anyways,
go straight
okay, I'm
there.
gonna
Are
give
you
up.
using that as a fear tactic? Like I'm scared?
Yeah, kind of.
I will tell you, I will not fake it if it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I'm not a good actor to begin with.
Braxton's gone. Oh, he's bothered. He's hot. We're fighting.
But you have to make me a deal, and you can't pull this bullshit. Because I don't like fake stuff. So I know that I know that everyone's done it where you've been punished and it doesn't bother you that much, but you gotta play into it. You gotta play it up. If it doesn't bother me, I'm not gonna play it up. But only if you're like, well, it doesn't bother you, we gotta find something else.
Sure.
So you gotta
I
make me a
understand.
deal. This is the punishment.
Yeah.
I mean, that just happened with Peter, and we didn't make him do something else.
Yeah. And I didn't play it up.
I don't think that's a standard order of operation.
It's been more likely than
Have
that
you faked a punishment? Is that what you're saying?
No,
All right.
not really.
We've had
Yeah,
some
you've
misses
also-
on
you've-
punishment.
yeah,
you know?
and
have
that's
had
happened
misses on
several times
punishments.
with you.
Yeah.
In fact,
We
it
made
happens with you more than anything.
We made you eat the elf spaghetti. That wasn't that bad.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, and anytime, honestly, almost any time we make you eat something, you don't get a reaction. I would be very impressed if you didn't have. I mean, I guess we don't have to get into it. I don't really know how this thing tastes.
Right.
It's probably just more of the. It's
it's
similar
going-
with the blood.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of the thought.
It's going.
So it is an eating punishment. You like
It will be. Well,
It's a drinking.
It's a drinking punishment, is what it is. So, we'll tease you on that. Welcome to It Just Makes Sense, presented by Boneyard Beer and our dear friends at Scrimmage. We are 1 week away from our live show at Jimmy's Sports Bar and Grill.
Well, as exciting as it is to do a live show, don't just graze over Thanksgiving because this is our Thanksgiving episode.
Well, hold on. We're going to.
You're gonna forget about
How long
Thanksgiving like that.
How long do you think this podcast is?
You know that this goes for like 2 hours, right?
Just gonna forget about Thanksgiving. Fucking care about the Thanksgiving holiday more.
I am in the promotional stage here.
If I didn't say it, you would have forgotten.
I would not have. I love Thanksgiving.
It's Miguel's
Are you
first
kidding
time
me?
here, Pete.
Yeah,
Give him
I
a
know,
break.
Jeez.
I didn't know I was surrounded by pros.
Yes, it is. It is 1 week away. I'm very excited. I think we've all talked to people over the last week or so, and it sounds like I've gotten a really positive response. Sounds like a lot of people are going to be there. So yeah,
Let's pack that place up.
Yeah, it's going to be a hoot. I think it's going to be a really, really good time. I'm very excited to have this
I
experience.
looked it up.
with
I
you
think they're
guys.
closed that day.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Damn.
We're going to do live punishment there. We're going to have fireball shots there. There's going to be a fireball girl walking around with shots.
Yes,
Very
and
exciting.
I talked to Scott, the GM of Jimmy's, and he listened to last week's podcast, and he wanted to make it clear that we're not giving away free fireball shots. There will be some.
That's what I've been telling people.
Yeah, well then we're probably going to have to cover it then.
Yeah, you're the like samplers that like any liquor.
The Tussin cups.
But hold on. When you go to Costco, you always grab like 3 or 4 samples.
Yeah.
So,
but I just want
It'll be the equivalent of a-
I don't want people going up to the bar and thinking that every fireball shot they get is free. There's going to be a special on fireball shots. They'll give you free tasters. I think that's probably a better descriptive term. But
I've literally
they
been
are
saying free drinks.
Oh yeah,
not just
Yeah.
fireball.
Okay,
Everything is
Scott, we're
free.
gonna have to open up the tab, brother.
Scott said everything is free.
Everything's free.
Yeah.
But
if it is that much of a hang up, we will buy you a fireball
yeah,
shot.
that is true. We will. But either way, they're gonna have free merch. It's gonna be a great time. The Blazer game is on afterwards, and you get to hang out with us, hear us bullshit for an hour. So be there, be square.
That's
6
a
p.m.
bigger deal. There's free merch.
Free merch.
Like more than just the one jacket
Yes.
for everyone.
Come
We shall
down
see.
and find out.
We shall see.
Come
It's a
around, fuck
fluid-
around and find out.
It's a fluid process.
Yeah.
But
open the calendar.
I have been told Fireball will be bringing a lot of different merch, from T-shirts to all the different types of tchotchkes that you would get from a liquor company, and it will be
scrounge
a great
up
time.
an IJMS thing or two. Who knows?
Probably not.
Who knows?
But maybe. But it's gonna be fun. Please come.
Yeah, very excited. So
drinks.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you just went over it like you didn't give a shit about the holiday, but I'm here to remind you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, so we do have Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If you are making your turkey or your other Thanksgiving staples while listening to us,
A New
very
York
honored.
strip loin.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm cooking my first turkey this year on Wednesday.
And are you smoking it?
I am smoking it, and I'm very nervous
Yeah.
because I think. Well, I'll just tell you why. So Jara's dad, when they dropped off Cusco last time they were watching my dog, they dropped off the turkey, put it in my deep freeze, and said, "Hey, you're taking care of the turkey this year."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm pretty nervous about that. You know, it's the thing that everybody eats." But then I thought about it, and there's only one person who eats the turkey, and it's Jara's dad.
Ah.
And now it's like, I think that's even worse.
Yeah.
I literally
You're
just
catering
have
to a party of
please
one.
one person.
Yeah. And have you taken it out of the freezer?
No.
Take it out of the freezer.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, thank God. Please take it out of
It's
the
not
freezer.
necessarily a bad thing if you're. It doesn't make it worse that it's for one person. You just have to figure out if that person is the pickiest eater out of who you're catering to.
He has called us every other day and asked, "What are we doing with the turkey?"
Are you spatchcocking?
No.
Oh, you're going full bird.
Full bird.
No spatchcock.
No cock.
How often is that done? Because that's what I did last time I cooked a turkey. I
You cocked it?
spatchcocked it.
Yeah. You just like cut
But
the
I
little
just
thing and push it all
never
down?
thought that was like a normal thing that most people
It's
do.
become more and more normal. Should I?
If you're smoking, I would look into it. If you're smoking, I would look into it. Yeah.
I think traditionally a lot of people, they don't do that because they like to stuff the turkey, and I don't stuff the turkey,
Sure.
so I spatchcocked it.
I mean, I don't need to stuff it. I'm going to inject the fuck out of it.
Yeah. I would look into the spatchcock.
Spatchcock might be less cooking time,
Mm-hmm.
faster.
It's flat, It's even cooking at that point. So,
I've spatchcocked a chicken or two in my day.
Well, there you go. What is happening in the group chat?
I don't know. I will say most people that cook like their first turkey, there's a 99% failure rate.
I know. That's why
I had good luck. I had my first one during COVID. I cooked my first one for the family. I made a nice little compound butter, juiced it all up. I was very pleased with how it turned out.
Well, and I think one thing that I've always done, which helps me avoid failure in first cooks, is I always cook by temperature, not time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm never going to let it get overcooked. And
Certainly.
That's the worst.
But do you cook with love and feel?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
You're just fingering everything to make sure it's right.
I mean, I'm going to be elbow deep under that breast skin, making sure there's at least a 1/4-inch layer of infused butter. I'm going to make a garlic confit and then take the garlic out.
Garlic coffee?
And then let the butter that the garlic had confit in harden, and then use that butter on
oh
the
my
meat.
gosh, you're coming back with it. Huh?
And just to find out, Jair's Dodd hates garlic.
He's a vampire.
Jair's Dodd hates garlic.
Jared Dog.
Wait, are we talking about? Are we talking about not the guy who broke the boat? We're talking about
the other one.
The other one.
I love that's how you qualify
Their
him.
identifiers.
Yeah, your identifier. No, not the boat breaker.
Got it.
So what did you make for Friendsgiving? You had a Friendsgiving this past weekend.
Actually, I didn't really make much. Jared did it. Just because I'm doing all the dishes for Thanksgiving, the real Thanksgiving. But
yes.
she made these wonderful breadsticks that were like puff pastry or whatever, wrapped with bacon and like covered in a like maple brown sugar cayenne Rub.
Gotcha. So when I suggested that you make something with bacon and puff pastry, and you immediately said no, you
We were
proceeded
already
to
doing it.
do that, basically, just not
He
with the
replaced your
asparagus.
asparagus with bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, we were already doing it, and she made two things, and I specifically told you the other thing because I knew if I told you we were doing the puff pastry with bacon, you would somehow take some weird credit like that for it.
That's fair. You
Well,
wish.
now
which
with
you
the
are
whole
doing,
argument.
which you are doing
Yeah,
right
I
now.
incepted the idea
Yeah,
into it,
which
and you
you
go,
are
we
trying
don't like
to take this
asparagus,
weird
so we want to.
credit for it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
But we also made buffalo chicken pull-apart bread,
Oh, nice.
and that was very good. And
Pull
Jara,
apart bread is a very good group thing.
yes,
Love a good pull apart.
and Jara made a fuck ton of her famous ranch, and it's in our fridge, and it's wonderful.
No one made spaghetti.
No.
I can't wait for our next potluck. I just want to bring spaghetti.
Spaghetti is the dead
Why?
person food.
Just because you would hate it.
Exactly. I would hate it.
I love spaghetti.
No.
What if it's baked? What if it comes in a casserole dish covered with melted cheese?
Baked spaghetti.
Then it's basically like a shredded lasagna at that point.
Yeah, and
yeah, that's
and,
fine.
and what if I was to even break the noodles so they weren't even long? It wasn't really even spaghetti anymore. Could I trick you?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
He'll find a reason why he doesn't
It
like
has
it.
been it has been over a decade since I've lost a family member in which I have proceeded to get 12 straight meals of spaghetti afterwards. So maybe we've recovered from
You
it.
probably didn't also get good quality spaghetti.
No, yeah, it was like
Fucking SpaghettiOs.
It was church people spaghetti.
So it never even touched the stovetop. It was probably literally like
Noodle,
noodles
sauce.
and then jar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Gross.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I appreciate the sentiment, but try. Please just try when it comes to making spaghetti. But, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like it is a whipped together, mass production, cheap thing to bring. So just put a little effort. Maybe make
How dare
your
you
own
call
sauce.
it cheap? Don't call it cheap.
It's more or less. I mean, if you're talking about like spaghetti noodle, and okay, stop it.
What's more or less? How did you turn into Don Vito? Why did you just more or less to do the Vito Scalapedia?
But I am very excited for Wednesday. I'll be cooking all day, doing a lot of the side dishes, not doing the turkey.
Are you bringing it to the yards?
Yes. Yeah. So
What are you in charge of?
So I am bringing those asparagus puff pastry things
I bet
that
they
you
suck.
Yeah, fuck off.
Vegetables. Brings vegetables.
It's an appetizer. I am in charge of a vegetable as well. But I think I'm just gonna do like
You're gonna double down on veggies?
Actually, Pete,
Yes,
I would
a
highly
cheese
recommend
rice.
that you go with like a Brussels sprout, maybe some like garlic, bacon, a little balsamic, maybe a Parmesan flake on there, something like that.
Yeah, one flake.
I might do that similarly, but with green bean.
That's what I was gonna say. Why don't you?
I knew you were gonna take my idea.
Since Lindsay's dad has been into like cooking and experimenting with Chinese food, why don't you surprise him with the Din Tai Fung green beans?
The Din Tai Fung green beans are very tough to do because you have
You
to
don't blanch them, don't you?
Yeah, but
and then you flash fry them, and then like your whole house, like it's got to get real hot. And I don't have a wok.
you don't need a wok.
You don't need a wok?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll look into it because I do love those green
Yeah,
beans.
and even
I
if
have a
it
ton of
doesn't
them.
come out like the exact same as the restaurant, like it's so basic, like the ingredients, you can, as long as it's crispy.
Because we just wanted to like have like a palate cleanser. You know, everything's so rich at Thanksgiving.
Grilled pineapple. That's what they gave you at Fogo.
And I did see this pie. I don't make pies. I'm not a baker very much, but I saw this like Biscoff cheesecake pie looking thing. We've already bought the pumpkin pie. I'm not even going to try and do my own. Just bought the big Costco one for $5.99. It's 3 pounds. It'll feed the whole family.
3 pounds?
I don't need to buy or make my own pie at that point. But so tree pounds. Exactly. So, and then we do the cheese rice, and we've talked about this in the past. That's my family's recipe or whatever.
How does
rice.
Lindsay's family adjust to the cheese rice? Is it something they like?
I think so. I mean, like, I think that it is...
Or you don't think they have the heart to tell you that they don't like it?
No, we still take some home, but I think that it's kind of a newer thing. It's not traditional, and it wasn't native to the family. So I think that it's like a courtesy scoop.
Getting used to it.
You get a courtesy scoop in there.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. The good cheese rice, Peter. Oh, thank you. I slaved away. It's the whole,
good cheese rice.
It's like the whole decorum of the whole thing.
Just mixing that cheese with the rice was the hardest thing I've done all day.
Yes.
So thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's a little bit more involved.
It's more than that.
How dare you?
If it's just cheese and rice, I don't think people would question it. But you said there's milk, right?
No. It's beef broth. And
Yeah,
there's
there's-
caramelized onions, there's slivered almonds, and there's mushrooms, which is kind of interesting. So,
okay.
yeah. So no
Is
milk.
it wet? Is it watery? Or is it like...
No, it kind of like, because it's a twice bake, so it gets greasy.
So is it like when you're making mac and cheese? So is it crispy on top?
Crispy on top, yeah. So the
Okay.
second bake gets it crispy, and you get into it, then it's a little bit greasy. But if on the first bake, it would be more cheesy.
I'm surprised
but
you've never made that and have any of us try that.
It's because it's more just like a holiday. I do it like I'll do it for a Super Bowl party, or even the Christmas party coming up. I'll do it for the Christmas party. Yeah,
I'll try it.
I gotta be honest.
Courtesy scoop. Oh, good cheese rice, Peter. Hey,
Oh, this is
thanks.
one just absolutely brilliant
Yeah.
cheese rice.
Peter, this is great.
I especially love the slivered almonds.
Listen, do not knock it until you try it. It's weird, but it tastes great.
There's not-
It's a great
I just
texture.
I don't like. Oops, sorry.
Chill out.
I don't like
Thumbs
almonds.
up.
If I take those
I
ingredients
will always
individually,
try it.
I like all of what it comes with individually. So I would try it. There's
you
not
go.
one ingredient that I wouldn't.
Oh,
eat.
I would absolutely try it.
Boom.
The other thing that I'm cooking this year that I haven't is I'm going to try doing a creamy, specifically keyword creamy white cheddar mac and cheese with bacon bits.
With the bacons?
Yes.
Yeah. Do
And
not add much salt in there, otherwise it'll be a big salt bomb.
Dude,
I don't
I had a
plan on-
shit ton of salt in there.
But I want, when you get, especially when you get mac and cheese in those big like tins that we've all seen,
Right.
like when you're even cooking them in there, it seems that the noodles will soak up so much of the juice.
Too much, yeah.
And then you go in to scoop it in, it's just dry noodle with like
Ow,
kind
juice.
Yeah.
with kind of like the hardened cheese or whatever. It's like I want that creamy. I
You
want
got
you
that
to
super goo.
Yes, I want to
that.
see
Comes
it.
from the
Want
liquid.
that super goo.
I know. So I've been doing some research, and the things I've been told is use cream cheese is one of your cheeses, and throw in like a half
Half
cup
and half.
of half and half,
Yeah.
and that'll do.
I
the
don't
trick.
want to completely blow past the fact that Peter just told you not to put salt in something.
And I'm the salt
Yeah,
guy.
Mind
that
blowing.
is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I do think that like our generation is going to like make Thanksgiving, because everyone says, "Oh, like I don't even like turkey," or "I don't like Thanksgiving foods," or whatever. Like, I mean, we've talked about some. I mean, like mac and cheese is pretty traditional, but I mean, you are riffing on it, right? Like you're making an interpretation of just like not as traditional of a mac and cheese that you would expect. So I just wonder if like we will evolve Thanksgiving over time and just kind of make whatever the hell we want.
I tell you what, we have already decided, because of what I explained earlier, how John, Jared's father, is really the only one who likes the turkey. We're just going to get him a big leg quarter and cook that up. It's so much easier. It takes so much less time. He'll literally get the portion that he wants to himself. All he wants is the dark meat.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting exactly what you want, cooked to perfection.
Can you just buy the leg quarter?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. And then because every year we
Costco just sells the leg quarters.
Yeah. And her mom makes like a beautiful tenderloin or a prime rib or a New York strip loin or something like that, and that's what everybody eats. And then the only good of the turkey is making like sandwiches or pot pies the next week or whatever.
Right, yeah, you're like trying to hide the turkey for the rest of the week.
I will say I do love making, one of my favorite traditions that I've started in my little home in the last few years is doing the leftover pot pies. I love those.
I made a pot pie recently that turned out to be, I think, about 7 pounds. I made it in the big.
Really?
I made it.
Those are so hard to do.
It was so big, but it was really good. It was very successful.
Good.
At least I thought so. But it was just.
You're just
Lindsay
eating
goes,
that in one giant casserole. Like, you can't portion it.
No, and that was the thing. Like, I made it in the big cast iron. And Lindsay goes, don't you want to use a small one? And I go, no. I think I'll just double up the recipe.
You definitely want to just use the small
Use
one.
a smaller one next time. Because when I took that out, it literally felt like it could murder somebody.
Yeah.
That's how heavy it was. Okay, so Juan, you are going to be going to the PK Invitational, whatever it's called now. The Phil Knight one, where you're going to see your Bluke Duke
My
Devil.
Bluke Duke Devils.
Your Bluke Do Devils.
Your Bluke Do
Go
Devil.
Bluke. Like, who's that guy?
I feel like that's going to become like the next Chad, the Chad of 2045. Go Bluke. You're my man, Bluke.
Let's go Bluke.
We have really good seats. I do want to be like just cheering right behind the bench saying go Bluke, and someone looks is like, oh, that guy must be fucking drunk, and then he looks at my Bluke hoodie. He's like, oh, he's being for real. It's his
my
Bluke on
Do
there.
Devils.
Go Bluke.
It's a mashing of words, a Bluke. So
It is. It's exciting. It's first game is on Thanksgiving Day.
what time?
12.
Okay, so you are not going to be at one Thanksgiving.
So
you're compromising.
Ashley's family's Thanksgiving is at 1, which I will miss for the first time since we started dating. But theirs isn't as big because it's her mom, her dad, her grandma.
You promised you would rush the court.
Yeah. And Mitch, who's also coming, their Thanksgiving isn't until like 5 or 6. And Duke plays Oregon State on Thanksgiving Day at noon. So we're going to that, and it's at the Memorial Coliseum, which if you've ever seen a basketball game there, it has that old gymnasium feel. Like this, Blazers used to play there. It's like an old...
musty.
Yeah, it's got that musty hardwood smell, which I like watching games there because I did that in 2018. And then Friday we have tickets too because both teams are going to be playing either in the consolation bracket or the winning bracket.
Sure.
So Friday there's going to be 2 games.
And are you for sure going to see Duke and Oregon State play, or
Duke plays Oregon State on Thanksgiving Day?
No, I'm saying in those Friday games. Do you know who you're going to see play in those 2 games, or is it still up to like?
Duke and Oregon State will be playing. We just don't know who they're playing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 1 and a 3:30 back-to-back game, and it'll be Duke versus either Florida or Xavier, and then Oregon State versus Portland or DePaul. Or one of those two.
Okay.
They're playing back-to-back.
Gotcha.
Did you guys see the security guard, take out the dude at the USC-UCLA game? It was an incredible feat here. So the guy's running. Security guard comes from out of nowhere. I don't know. I'm going to show it to Miguel here first. Oh. Just fucks him up. I'll show it to Braxton.
Shoulder blowout.
Yeah, that guy got
hit.
Destroyed.
Was that Travis Dye? Is that how he got injured?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like him.
I mean,
we told you to put on your jersey, Travis?
Does that warrant that type of a tackle? I mean, like, you are on the field. It's like the guy who sued Bobby Wagner for knocking him down during Monday Night Football, and it's like, well, you wouldn't have gotten concussed if you didn't rush the field.
But you know what you're asking for it, and you know the risk of you running around there, and especially security and not necessarily a player. They're like, their job is to keep everyone safe, so I don't blame them for taking, like, hitting them like that, because to them it's like the most serious thing that could happen.
I mean, it's trespass.
Trespassing.
Listen, Fran, this is
trespassing. But like I'm pretty sure in a lot of states you can shoot and kill somebody and not
Texas
see any,
right? Yeah, it's just like
charges or any issues from that. If they're trespassing on your property, you got to protect yourself.
It's a hard word for you tonight.
Tresspassin.
I'll stick with Tresspassin.
You, though, thinking about this a little bit, not only would you be great to rush a field, like someone should hire you to be a protester. Because the thing, like people go to like certain spots, not just that.
I hurt my wrist. Oh God, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Jesus, what's wrong with you guys? I'm sorry, Michelle.
Some people go to those basketball games. It was like the ones that were protesting the Timberwolves owner. They like took the super glue and they tried to super glue their hand on the court, but it's like, no, that's not going to dry in time.
I can imagine. I can picture two security guards looking at me, and if it's a normal sized person, they'll probably just lift them up, and then they look at me, and I'm like, I fucking dare you.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
dare you.
I mean, like you go 4 bills.
Oh
my
God,
goodness,
I'm
you go
sorry.
4 bills dead weight. 4 bills dead weight. They're not getting you off that court.
There's no fucking like machine out there. There's no tractor. There's nothing that can lift me.
They gotta be forklift certified.
I mean, because it's like they could try and lift you. Like a bunch of people could try and pull it, but you have to be a willing body to get up. You'd be great.
Like
Hire
4
you.
bills.
That's a side hustle.
4 bills is 4 bills. 4 bills on purpose dead weight. That's 1,600.
Yes,
I
you
only
can make
move
so much
if
money.
I want to move.
Yeah. Anyways, consider it.
I mean, where is
Take
it
it
on
into
LinkedIn?
operation.
Is it on LinkedIn anywhere?
I mean, I think there's a category for that.
Human resources.
Trespassing.
I saw that you had it on the sheet, and it reminded me. We definitely need to go because on Thanksgiving I'm actually going to be having Ashley and I are having dinner with my mom at A.
Oh, up at A.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So
They're building a hotel.
And
before that, they just opened a sports book.
they've got a brand new,
Oh, shit.
super clean within the last.
So guess who's already been there?
Who?
Jordan.
Fucking Jordan.
Jordan
That
went
bitch.
this weekend.
So I'm saying one day, March Madness, let's go.
We live there.
Spend the
and
night.
we fucking stay there all day.
Okay.
Go to the Jordan
And I think we
Steakhouse.
should leverage our very successful live show that's happening on November 29th at Jimmy's Sports Bar, 6 p.m. Be there to maybe get something hooked up with A. To have not like a live show, but just to come out. I don't know, do promo. Give us free shit.
I did hear.
I think we got to go there first.
Part of the reason why I knew that this sports book existed was there was a local radio show in town. I was driving back from the gym today, just so you know.
I'm going to stuff you inside a turkey.
Is that they were doing a live show from the brand new sports book at A. So
Well, I wonder if they'd let us do that.
Yep. I think we go first.
Yeah.
And then work out some sort of a deal.
I
we've never been to your sports book. Can we get free shit and do a live show?
Let's just show up.
Of course, I would love to go anytime. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
Let's
just show up with our stuff and set up. Be like, oh, yeah, you don't know Chaz?
Chaz Michael Murray?
Yeah, exactly. Chaz sent us.
I've never been, but I picture that it's really fucking nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no way they're going to build a sports book at A that's not going to look better than the 2 at Spirit Mountain and Chinook Winds that exist already.
Of course, Swing, you want something to... Look at that. Look at those big man chairs.
Oh, my God. It looks like Vegas.
Yeah. Look at those big man chairs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All day March Madness.
Yes.
We got to do it.
Huge. Like, they could have a few more TVs, but I'm sure that there's probably TVs, like, in your seat or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Let's lose some money.
Let's lose some money.
Oh, yeah. Let's.
But anyways, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
That was a real
All
sigh
right.
of relief. We are losing money. And it's like, yeah, let's. I'm tired of losing money.
Man, yeah. I feel like we're a broken record. We just need that one thing in our parlay to hit every week. That's just that one thing.
I will tell you, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I have a future that's probably going to hit.
Which one?
And it pays out $8,500.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's a $250 bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
Did you do that?
$250 and it's going to win $8,500.
Dang. Well, you're taking us. You're paying for the
I
hotels.
made that up.
Oh, you would never have that foresight.
There's nothing I have that's close.
You have Tom Brady to win MVP.
Backed up by Russell Wilson.
Backed up by Russell Wilson.
I've noticed, Miguel, you've been doing these like very reasonable and like plausible lies.
That is him. That is him always.
And then you're like, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. And then you laugh at us like we're idiots. It's like, why
You're
wouldn't
dumb
I
for
believe?
believing that.
Why wouldn't I believe you?
I would have.
Unagi.
There are a couple of things that are going around on the social medias. Number one, someone has successfully determined the outcome of every Jets game this year
by a coin toss.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, and it's still going. It's
still happening, yeah.
Well, and thankfully, when it got reposted and kind of got some traction through like Barstool or Bleacher Report or whatever, it was right before they were about to hit like a 3-game losing streak. So it's like, oh, the Jets lose. Oh, well, the coin's still right. When it's really going to get hard is after they have this loss to the Bears, it's like 6 wins in a row, and then they go to the AFC Championship game and lose.
That's as far as the coin has it?
Yeah.
What part of you thinks that it's rigged?
I mean, like
I don't think it's rigged.
It can't be rigged because they
have
No, not the coin and just the picking, but the thing as a whole, like with the league and with the refs.
Well, that was
let's put on your tinfoil hat and let's look at this.
That was an insane way to lose this week.
The Jets and the Pats were tied at 3-3. That punt return or kick return by the Patriots to go up 10-3 to win. There were 2 block in the backs that were not called.
They're sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it was 547 punts that had been completed before that without a touchdown return. And over, I think it was like close to 1,000, like including kicks too.
Add all
or
those
something.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
ask questions.
We're
just asking questions.
Yeah, we're not the ones coming to. Well, what we are coming to a conclusion is that the Jets were just absolutely miserable, especially in the second half of that game.
That game was just fucking ugly.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, like here's the stat for you is that in the second half, the Jets moved the ball forward 2.77 inches per play on average.
What's that in miles?
0.0 something.
Yeah.
Very small.
I heard somebody say that Zach Wilson had the Coors Light special line, the 9 for $22 or something. 9 beers for $22.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, like they had more punts than they did completions in that game. And afterwards, when asked whether or not he felt like he had any sort of accountability for not helping the defense out. Like, gosh, the defense was on the field all game trying to just, like, get them anything. And he just, like, brushes off, says, no, I don't deserve any sort of blame for this. It was just like...
It was windy as fuck, bro.
Run the ball.
Yeah,
Run
what
the
happened
ball.
Don't they have Brian Robinson? Or
not Brian
James
Robinson.
Robinson?
Now they do.
They have James
Yeah,
Robinson. They have Michael Carter. Like, why weren't you running the ball?
It was interesting that this is the first week now that Saleh says he's not going to commit to a quarterback, so it could potentially be Joe Flacco time again. So
who's the other guy? Isn't there?
It's Flacco is your backup.
Didn't
right?
they have a backup that went off last year?
Oh, James
Mike
White or Mike White. Mike White.
Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I say throw Joey Flax out there, let him finish out the season.
He had an incredible start to the year. I mean,
he's probably going to retire too, so give it to him.
At the very beginning of the year, we were saying, like, who are your top quarterbacks by passing yards? And Joe Flacco was right up there.
What if Joe Flacco comes in and plays the rest of the
with
season?
Carson Wentz.
And Matt Ryan continues to play with the Colts, and those two just blow out the other quarterbacks and end up at top 2 in stats.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger comes back. He takes over for Kenny Pickett. It would just be That's
Brett
how it's
Favre
gonna go.
comes in for the Rams and Stafford's hurt.
Or the Vikings. He's got his pick. Brett Favre does with the Packers or the Vikings. One final thing about the Jets is that, Garrett Wilson afterwards says that, like, this shit's unacceptable. He's like literally calling the guys out. You gotta have to wonder a little bit, like, did Elijah Moore, who kind of got himself out of favor in the offense, maybe saw this coming a little bit ahead of time, where he's not getting any sort of targets or anything. But interesting.
Zach Wilson's distracted. You know what
with
he's
a bunch
doing
of
off the
MILFs.
field.
Yeah. I mean, like, Zach Wilson's identity for the rest of his career will be with MILFs, just like Kyler's will be with Call of Duty.
It's true.
Kyler has been hurt every week since Call of Duty has come out.
Hasn't won a game since.
Yep. So, but yeah, the other thing, we're going to do things a little bit reverse order since we are talking about the NFL. Couple of things about the Vikings. Number one, not only did they take a loss, just got molliwopped this week, but there was this interesting thing that happened where the Minnesota Vikings, like in arena game ops crew, were asking fans to send along. They said, share photos and stories of your loved ones who have served or are currently serving using hashtag Skull Salute for your chance to win a pair of tickets. So someone tweeted in, and it was used on the Jumbotron at US Bank Stadium. And it says, at Vikings, this is my cousin Joel. He served in the Army. He's always been an inspiration and someone I look up to for his heroism. He is also a huge, all caps, Vikings fan. Hashtag
Huge.
Skull Salute.
Huge.
The person that was a photograph was none other than porn star Johnny Sins in his military garb.
God bless America, brother.
One of the most famous male porn stars, Johnny Sins.
Probably somebody who you could argue you've seen his penis just as much as you've seen your own.
Probably, yeah. That guy has been everywhere.
At least in action.
Yes. Yeah, definitely in action.
Mine doesn't move.
But yeah, it's just like the picture is just so heroic. We've got it up on our YouTube stream for those who are watching.
Social media teams that are on top of it, and there's ones that get got.
And that one got.
And the Vikings are always going to be the team that gets got.
They can take a lesson from the Wendy's social media team.
Because they say things like trespassing.
Listen, Fran, you're trespassing again.
Gonna need you to leave. You're trespassing.
Please go.
Don't let the largest road victory in Cowboys history distract you away from the fact that the Vikings put up Johnny Sins on their Megatron today.
I mean, what's the real L? No, I'll tell you what, though. That Minnesota game fucked me in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
I lost my number one position in fantasy.
Oh, boy.
I lost a bet.
That was inevitable, though.
Yeah. I honestly, you never want to be number one going into playoffs.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous.
2 is perfect because you still get the first week bye. But there's, you're not.
You don't got as much of a target on you.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so that begs the question. So the Vikings come off of a win in a non-conference, non-division game, and they come back and they get housed. And this was like what? They were a 1.5-point favorite going into this game. I mean, like, obviously, like,
were they?
They were. I mean, if not,
the Cowboys were like 3-point.
Okay,
favorites.
even still, I mean, you were expecting at least like a very close game, or at least you have a team that is 8-1, riding high off of a big win, and
that's what it is, though. That was an emotional win that just probably drained the fuck out of them after, and they had nothing left.
But like, if you're 8-1 and you have everything, you have all of the. You're not just like 8-1 by accident to then lose by 37. Which then, if you dig down a little bit deeper, you have to ask yourself a question: are the Vikings frauds? When you look at their point differential, They are -2, and I mean, like, I know that points aren't everything, but I mean, they're an 8-2 team now, and they have a -2 point differential in the year. And you look at the Jags, this is like very similar to all of the selective stats that I was making for the fantasy, which again we can get into that here in a bit. Is the fact that like a 3-7 Jacksonville Jaguars are +11 in point differential, right? So, I mean, points aren't everything, very clearly, but
They're not.
I just wonder.
Well, and they're
how we see the Vikings right now.
Yeah, and they're. I don't think you can say that they're frauds.
I don't think they're frauds.
I mean, they're 8-2.
I think this blowout was a fluke.
I mean, I think the Cowboys are pretty good. I don't think it's a fluke necessarily for them. I just think, like you said, with their point differential, if they're in negative points differential and they have an 8-2 record, that means that those 8 wins are all very, very close games. And so it's not just that Buffalo Bills game, which is obviously one of the craziest games we've seen in a long time, high emotion, but almost every one of their games has been this high level of emotion where they've had to drive and
They've played some exhausting games.
Exactly. And I think that it was all, it's kind of the straw on the camel's back type thing. They had the most emotional, the most important, the most crazy game all just happened, and I think it was just kind of like a what more do we have to give type thing. And the Cowboys were in a prime position where they really need to show something. They were coming out to this game ready to go. And so I think that it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, the Cowboys are a good team. Vikings were not ready to play, and boy, howdy did it show.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying the Cowboys win and blowout was a fluke, not on their side. I think
maybe the point differential was
point differential
fluke,
being blown out for the Vikings, I think, was a fluke. I don't think that tells me anything that I need to know about that team.
Right.
Yeah.
That's still an 8-1 team that got there. And I think going through 9 games before that that you could flip a coin and they could have easily lost any of those games, I think it's only going to make them better when it comes to wild card and playoffs.
Yeah. And I mean, in the NFL, obviously, like, you win by 1, you win by 37. A win is a win, and you are not affected by anything other than arbitrary power rankings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, looking at the Vikings' schedule the rest of the way, you could argue that they could just win out the rest of the way, depending on who they face, right? They have the Patriots, who are, you never know what you're going to get out of them, and that game is at home for the Vikings. Then they've got the flailing Jets at this point. The Lions, again, kind of a toss-up. What are you going to get from this team? The Colts, what are you going to get from the Colts? Giants, they put up that stinker this past week with the Lions. Then the Packers, interdivisional towards the end of the year. Maybe you drop that one. And then the Bears, depending on what's going to happen here. I imagine Justin Fields is fine with his shoulder, but I mean, now you have your quarterback who has like turned your bad season into a bad but like kind of fun to watch season. But if he's
somewhat
gone,
of a possibility that you could do something, and now he's out.
Yeah. So, but an interesting thing to see, like, how the Vikings will respond throughout the year. And when you look at every single game, you say you could win every one of those ones based off of your track record so far this year.
Who knows with Kirk?
I know, it really does come down to Kirk. And if he can still be that swaggy, chained out guy.
I think what Kirk liked is he was the only Kirk in the league. He was the only nerdy white guy that his teammates were celebrating, and I think Taylor Heineke went in there and was trying to be Kirk part 2, and Kirk's not having it.
Yeah, it hurt his feelings.
And all of a sudden he played like shit on Sunday.
I was a little bit surprised that you didn't jump right in on this one. With the Sunday Night Football game last night. A very exciting game between the Chiefs and the Chargers, a game that came down to the wire in which the Chargers had the opportunity to respond, albeit not a ton of time. But, I mean, if history has said anything, you only need 13 seconds to go down and score, is that Justin Herbert had the ball, final possession in a game to win at home, And
he failed.
And I mean, like, you know, obviously the ball was tipped up and it was intercepted, whatever. But I mean, still, there were some people today who were jumping on Justin Herbert is no Patrick Mahomes. And obviously, like, there's one of Patrick Mahomes at this point. But I would have thought that you had a strong feeling about that.
No,
or if it was just like confirmation to what you've been saying.
My point that I've made with Justin Herbert isn't going to come down to one game. Like, my point that I've always made with Justin Herbert is he hasn't done anything. So whether he won the game or lost the game on Sunday night wouldn't have changed anything. Because ultimately the big picture is, why is he being built up to be this guy? What has he done?
Sure. He did.
So till the end of the season, what's the Chargers going to look like? Are they going to be in the playoffs? What's he going to do?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they did get Allen and Williams back, however, injured again or limited. But still, yeah, I thought that it was like, I love watching Chiefs-Chargers games. I mean, they are just always so exciting.
Yeah. I will admit, when he has his weapons around him, they look like a completely different team.
Yeah.
Because when you have Eckler, when you have Allen, unfortunately, like Mike Williams, who I had a bet on, got hurt after that one play.
You throw Palmer into the mix or whatever. Everett's hurt, but
DeAndre Carter, like that backup running back, like when he has those weapons, they look completely different. You know who's going to be Herbert's demise? Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
That's going to be the worst thing that's ever happened to him in his career, because if that guy stays another 2 or 3 years, they don't make any changes, and they're just successful enough that that guy's job is never on the line, that guy's the one that's going to take him down.
Yeah.
Because you put somebody like an Andy Reid or a Matt LaFleur or a fucking Shanahan to work with Herbert, I think he would skyrocket with his weapons.
Here's one that was interesting that has been kind of thrown out there. And I'm sure that because of his broadcasting duties, it's not that much of a coincidence that he's there. But Sean Payton has been lurking around the Chargers lately as well.
Great QB coach.
Which has drummed up a bit of the rumor mill there.
I would love that.
That would be
I think
something.
Yeah, that would. But
you're talking about taking a coach or a team over the hump, like that is the type of thing that you want.
Especially with like what Miguel said, they already have so many weapons. But and the other thing is I don't think anybody is trying to sit here and compare Patrick, at least not here, compare Herbert to Patrick Mahomes. Like Mahomes is
a one of one. Yeah. Anything else from the NFL slate that really kind of caught your guys' attention? There is again another one of those viral things going around. I can play it for you in one of my Twitter tabs here. Here is that there has been this man since week 1 who has been tracking how long it takes Russell Wilson to throw as many touchdowns as he has bathrooms in his brand new house in Denver. And this is something that
has a lot of time in his hands.
Has been going on longer than it needs to go. And here is this week's video.
Tracking how long it takes Russell Wilson to throw as many touchdown passes as he has bathrooms in his house saga. Today was week 11, and Russell Wilson played the Raiders. He did not have any touchdown passes. This means that his total on the season will remain at 7 touchdown passes. Meanwhile, at his and Sierra's home, they also did not add or remove any bathrooms. This means that number also stayed the same at 12. Bathrooms are growing ever more confident by the day that they have this season on lock. Congratulations, bathrooms, on a great week.
12 to 7.5.
12 to 7. Yeah.
I don't know how you.
I don't know how you got 7.5 touchdowns. You can have a half bathroom, but you cannot have a half touchdown.
I'm gambling way too much.
He's got 7.5 touchdowns. No, it is interesting that this should have been over a long time ago. He only has 7 touchdowns. Russell Wilson does on the year. By the way, side note, since you didn't see the video as it was happening, but for people who saw it on YouTube, the guy was wearing a Bluke Dew Devils shirt, jacket.
He's the one tracking this shit?
Yeah,
he's a Blukey.
He's a Blukey.
What a nerd.
I thought you would appreciate that extra little bit.
Goodness.
But yeah, so the Raiders somehow had a wide open Devontae Adams to win in overtime. Whoop-de-doo. Am I boring you?
No, I'm sorry.
Am I boring you? Listen, first you trespass, and am I boring you now?
Boring you?
I'm sorry. That was rude. I take it back.
So,
I'm just tired. I'm tired of us sitting here saying we're no longer going to bet on this team because you don't know what you're going to get out of them. So naturally, you stay away from the Browns. The Browns have fucked you over.
Oh, gosh.
You know, the Raiders have fucked you over. The Broncos have fucked you over. And then new teams come up to fuck you over. The Giants. I mean, I'm not even going to count the Vikings because they're so unpredictable that, I mean, if we bet on them, that's our bad.
Sure.
But the Giants against the Lions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On an insured spread? I mean, insurance is a fucking scam.
Amen.
Amen. That one was me. Sorry. We've got a lot of activity in the group chat tonight, which is telling all to shut up.
Yeah,
Jordan,
the ladies are getting after it.
And I know they're talking about Nope in the chat. So,
like, who's
Jara's dropping alien gifts?
What a time.
Wow.
What a time. I mean, gosh, like I'd be remiss to not talk about what happened with Buffalo this week. They had 5.5 feet of snow fall on Buffalo in a period of 24 hours. They moved the game from Buffalo to Detroit, which they are going to be playing again on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I assume they went home, but maybe they should have thought about staying. Did they stay?
They stayed.
Good. Because what was happening was that these guys, they had fans showing up at people's houses to snowblow. Thank you. And then like snowmobile guys out of their houses so that they could get to the facility.
I just
and fly
gave you
away.
the word and you used the wrong word.
No, but they also snowmobiled other guys. I'm saying that they
say that again.
Snowblowed.
The other one.
Snowmobile.
Okay.
So they snowblowed. That is correct. They also snowmobiled other guys.
Why does it sound like you're saying snowblowed?
Snowmobiled.
Does it sound like he's starting?
No, it's your hearing.
Okay.
Snowmobiled.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Continue.
Was that game good? The Browns-Buffalo game?
It kind of was.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns just frittered it away.
Because I wanted to be on the side that it was going to be shit because I wanted them to play in Buffalo. And I wanted to see that snow game. I did not want to be deprived of a fucking snow game. I wanted to see it.
A good
I
snow
wanted
game.
to see the mess.
Yeah.
I also wanted to bet the under on everything, but mostly like an entertaining game because I did see when they had the first time that it came out that it's going to be dumping 5 or 6 feet or whatever. They had a video of a rat just going underneath the snow. They're like, "That's Nick Chubb. That's Nick Chubb," and his head's just popping up.
I'll post that video. I saw that. It was so funny.
That's exactly what it would have been. Like all running backs were under 6 feet, so it would have been Chubb, Singletary, James Cook.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to see him at all.
Well, and to Pete's point, I saw there was a video. One of the offensive linemen opened up his garage door, and it doesn't even you don't even really understand what you're looking at until it gets fully open because there's literally 5 feet of snow that has been pushed up against his garage door, and then you see his cars, and it's like up to the door handles of his cars.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I was just shocked that they didn't. This thing is coming. Leave. Why didn't they leave? They left on Saturday afternoon after everything had already dumped. Leave.
But at the same time, I know
They could leave their shit.
We've experienced this here in Portland, where on the news we're told, "Oh, we're gonna get all this snow. It's gonna be one of the biggest blizzards that Oregon has ever seen."
Arctic blast.
And then it's like, "Oh, well, it's an eighth of what we thought."
True.
So I'm sure they, you live in Buffalo, you're used to getting around in the snow. They say, "Oh, it's gonna be a 4-foot blizzard or whatever," and you're like, "Okay, we'll probably get 1-2 feet."
So to your point, so this storm was actually like wind or like a storm that came off of the lake, right? Whichever one that is, Superior,
Erie?
either way, Huron,
Erie?
one of them. Was it Erie?
I think so.
Okay, sure. So
Trillium.
it was a lake. It was a lakefront storm. So what was interesting is that like a lake storm, as I've read, follows a very specific path. It's not like something that casts its
It's
everything.
very zigzaggy.
Well, sure. I don't know. Is that right? Yeah. It follows a specific path. I thought he was contributing. I realized he wasn't. I'm moving on.
Sorry.
He rarely does.
So, anyways, what I'm getting
Wild
at
card.
is that, like, at the Bills Stadium, 5.5 feet of snow. University of Buffalo played a game on Saturday night, and it had no snow. It was on the other side of town. So half of the city had barely any snow.
How big is
the
Buffalo?
other side had
Well,
5.5 feet of
The
snow.
stadium is not technically in Buffalo.
Correct. It's a little bit out. Yeah. It's just kind of like New York Jets.
I was going to say, is it still in New York?
Yeah, no, it's still in New York. It would be like being a Portland team and the stadium's in Hillsborough.
It's in Orchard Park is where
Yeah.
it actually is. So
Why don't they just play at the fucking college stadium?
You
Or
think?
fuck it, just play in the snow. I really
I
wanted
know.
to see
I
it.
really wanted to see the Snow Bowl, especially because they had a similar game in the early 2000s, I believe, where it was like only field goals and safeties were scored, and the Browns beat the Bills in the Snow Bowl. It was pretty freaking sweet.
Lake Erie, by the way, is what butts up against Buffalo. Lake Ontario is just north of them.
So I was right.
You were correct.
Oh my gosh.
Lake talk.
Go Bluke!
That's our newest segment presented by Scrimmage.
Lake
talk. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:45. It's time for our lake talk.
Lake talk.
Bodies of water.
Couple of crazy things that happened if we're talking about crazy wins or finishes or whatever in college football was what happened. The way that TCU won that game was both chaotic and also like incredibly calm because they run the ball to then have the clock running with 10 seconds to go. Everyone just kind of trots off like nothing has happened, like they have practiced this scenario before, and the guy just with 3 seconds to go, snap, hold, kick, perfect, win. And it was like...
It's like they knew they were going to win the whole time, but everyone's like, what the fuck?
It's like, you know that there's 10 seconds left. Like, why is everyone jogging? Like, go.
Yeah.
It was like... But, like, they practiced that, obviously.
What a wild...
I honestly think that the people on the field, for some reason, thought there was a timeout. Because there's no scenario. Even if you practice it, you get the fuck off the field as fast as possible.
They were yogging.
That's how you practice it.
They were yogging off
hey,
the field.
this is the scenario. You have to run as quick as possible. There's no coach, especially at that level of competition, who would ever preach, okay, we're going to just, leisurely jog off because, we've practiced for this. Like, that would never fucking happen.
Or I can even see a team doing that if they're like maybe playing mental games with the other team, but at that point, what game are you playing? Like,
you still got to make the fucking kick.
There's still one major thing you have to do. So I think it's definitely a confusion. I don't think that was planned.
You don't think it was?
No, there's no way.
No fucking way. They would get chewed out.
There's no
I
way.
think everybody was confused.
They had to believe they had a timeout.
And then all of a sudden they were like, well, we've got to kick this now. All right.
Yeah, I feel like the kicking team had a little bit more hustle and rush to them. I feel like they had an awareness of, hey, we got to get this done. It was the offense coming off.
Big boys running off that field. They were just...
Yeah.
Dude, you got to give props to that kicker.
That ice in your
That
veins.
is a fucking playoff or non-playoff kick.
Yeah.
That was it. Because
that's your NFL resume. You go, it doesn't matter what look at that. That's what I did
Remember,
at that
like,
moment.
10 or 12 years ago, what happened to that Boise State kicker? Or not Boise State kicker. I might be getting like the Boise State quarterback and another kicker mixed up, where he got like death threats, like letters for missing a kick.
Oh, that happens to every kicker.
Yeah,
it was like it was a
kicker doesn't
specific
happen
Boise
to?
State one where it's like, they were competitive, they were gonna make it to a BCS bowl in that game, but it's the same thing for this guy. It's like, can you imagine? They're looking for a way to get TCU out of there. You're probably the one that's not going to get the benefit of the doubt compared to the other three. and that was a massive fucking
You're
kick.
thinking of Kyle Brotzman. Was the
Brotzman.
Yeah, the
Mr.
kicker
Brotz.
who received the death threats. This was back in 2010.
Yeah.
He missed 2 field goals and was the target of death threats and
A fucking college kid just
Yeah.
missed the kick, man. But when we were
they were
making
playing Nevada. It was
Yeah.
against Nevada.
when we were making our picks, I never thought how wild this Saturday would be for the top 4. I didn't
It's insane.
think I didn't think any of them would cover because I figured when we were making our picks, when I was making mine, I'm like, all these teams are going to be looking ahead to next week.
Yeah,
I'm like, some of these spreads are way
you've
too big.
seen teams lose on this week before these big rivalry games.
And
late November.
none of them are technically TCU covered, right?
No. They only won by 2. It was
They
2.5.
won by 1 point.
Or they won by 1 point. It was a 2-point spread.
So no one covered.
Correct.
And any of them could have lost. Like Georgia won by 10 on a 22-point spread.
That Maryland game was very close. That there was that Tagovailoa.
That was back and forth. Yeah,
that Tagovailoa fumble that made it not seem as close as it was.
Michigan almost blew it. But
yeah, and I mean Michigan won, and they had a penalty similar to they had a pick play that should have been called that didn't, that then set up a score, ended up with a win.
And not in the top 4, but absolutely the worst 24-hour period for a team was Tennessee.
Tennessee, my gosh.
My goodness. Not only do you get beat by a guy who was a Heisman candidate like 2 years ago, and everyone has forgotten about him.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he throws 6 touchdowns against you in almost 500 yards. Lose by what, 30?
Yeah.
When you were just, to your point last week, they weren't going to play another ranked opponent. They could have easily walked into the top 4. And then to lose your main guy to a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Hendon
that
Hooker,
evening-
who was in the Heisman conversation, at least top 3, suffers a torn ACL to his left knee, and then you lose 63-38, dashes your college football hopes. Again, as Miguel said, no, you weren't going to play in your championship game. You just literally had to just think that Michigan was going to lose in that Ohio State-Michigan game, and you're back in the playoff. And everything,
it's done.
It's done.
Yeah,
because they make it to the top 4. Hooker, the quarterback that got hurt, he wins the Heisman. There's nobody close. The closest guy's a running back from Michigan.
Well, Stroud
who
is
also
there.
just got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Stroud, technically the ranking was Hooker was going to win it. It was him to lose. It was his Heisman to lose. And then that running back, Stroud. And it's unfortunate. That sucks because a lot of people are big fans of that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, when you look at just, like, how dominant they were as an offense, as a team, like, to then see it just totally fall apart to where, yeah, and we can talk about Oregon here, that maybe Oregon is going to eventually be ranked higher than them, which who would have thought that?
But hey, as we've always said, boys, fuck Tennessee.
Yeah, but, like,
I'm kind of happy they're not in it.
I'm happy they're not in it.
I'm
but
not
like
happy that the kid got injured.
got
like
hurt,
that
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when you're having a Heisman run. That sucks.
Think
But
about
it was definitely a showing. Like that would have happened in the playoff against any one of those other four teams. I think that Tennessee was kind of a disaster waiting to happen.
Let's do a hypothetical. Let's say all the chaos happened, because the only team that wasn't going to lose was Georgia. They just weren't going to cover, but they were at no risk at any point in that game to lose to Kentucky.
Right.
So they win. Let's say the Buckeyes lose, Michigan, TCU,
That's right.
Tennessee,
USC could have lost that game.
LSU blew out UAB.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
they were
playing
fine.
a fucking
Yeah.
JV team.
And Alabama played Austin P or something like that.
So what would the top 4 look like had all of those games turned the other way?
You would have had Georgia
won,
Alabama, or LSU, Alabama, and Clemson.
You think LSU and Alabama would have jumped, or not LSU? I wouldn't be surprised, but you think Alabama would have jumped the
all
others?
those one
maybe
loss
not.
teams? No, I think that
But I guess
I think a lot of those
would stay.
Stay. Because if you're thinking that range,
it would just leave everyone like everyone else has a loss. So
yeah, I mean, I think LSU would jump, but I don't know if they would put them into the top 4. Maybe they would. They drop because you would have to keep Georgia and TCU. Or are you saying that TCU loses in this scenario?
I'm saying everyone lost, but everyone who was at risk of losing
Ohio
lost,
State, Michigan,
except Georgia
and TCU.
Yeah,
and
then
USC.
Then I would think that the only person who has a possibility of jumping up into that is LSU.
But wouldn't you then start looking at who they lost to? So yeah, they all have one loss at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then now you look at TCU lost to Baylor, who was not ranked.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The Buckeyes would have lost to Maryland, who was not ranked.
Yeah.
Michigan lost to Illinois, who was ranked. Were they?
I don't think they were.
Illinois had been. Where are they? I could have swore Illinois.
I thought they
was in
were.
there.
But either so, 3 of the top 4 would have lost to unranked teams. And then LSU had a blowout win against a shitty team. Tennessee would have been gone as a 2-loss team.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to count the 2-loss teams. What mix-ups would have happened there? Does USC beating a UCLA team?
Oh, that
was
jumps
ranked,
them in.
Do they jump?
But yeah, but theirs was close. Theirs was super close as well. So I mean, if we're taking them as a win, then yeah, I think they jump up. But if we're taking
USC loses, they're out. They're gone.
Yeah,
right. And I mean, like USC's win as well looks a little bit less as good because Utah, the team that beat them, Utah loses to Oregon. So then you're.
But Oregon beat them too. I think that's still a valuable win. But either way, I think that if that were to happen, it would have created a really sticky situation. And I think just like it does every year, I mean, it's always fun to talk about the possibilities of this, but it really just comes down to, who can win conference championships and come out of this unscathed. And often,
I mean, right now with how Pac-12 are beating the shit out of each other, Washington is looking like they could play for the Pac-12 championship.
Washington now is ranked 12 with Oregon at 10 after this past weekend.
Well, as long as Oregon beats Oregon State, they're in the Pac-12 championship, correct?
Right. Okay, so that's interesting. I have a scenario here of the Pac-12 being a total mess. So I'm going to try and unearth this because USC is in. Go ahead.
Before you start that, just because it's going to play into that. USC is in. Now we're thinking about who they're going to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oregon beats Oregon State. They finish at 9-2, correct?
Washington?
No, I mean Oregon beats Oregon State.
Oregon beats Oregon State.
They finish at 9-2.
Yes, and they are in.
Washington beats Washington State in the Apple Cup. They're also 9-2.
But 2 of their losses are in conference. Oregon only has 1 in conference loss.
Is that right?
So Washington needs to beat Washington State. If that happens, Oregon State would have to beat Oregon
for them to get in.
Yeah.
And Cal would have to beat UCLA.
So Washington needs all those things to happen.
Washington
I didn't know who their 2 losses were.
And they need a Oregon State. So they need Oregon State to beat Oregon and Cal to beat UCLA on top of winning. So,
who are their 2 losses to?
USC and Oregon.
Washington?
Oh, I thought you were talking about UCLA. Washington was...
Washington football.
It was early. Was it UCLA?
They lost to... I'll get you there. Don't worry. Don't fret. UCLA, and they lost to Arizona State.
Oh, wow.
In back-to-back weeks.
That's tough.
That's a bad loss. ASU is a bad loss.
But yeah, for sure, especially because that was right around the time when all the turmoil was going on with ASU as well.
Fuck, man, the conference lost just like that because if they're somewhat even with Oregon, then Oregon's fucked with a tiebreaker if they didn't have the Pac-12 losses.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Utah, go ahead.
I was just gonna. Is there a possibility that Oregon gets back into this playoff situation? Like, We've got rivalry week next week. There's who could become 2 lost teams.
If you're looking at 2 lost teams,
because we've still got Georgia and TCU undefeated, and Ohio State and Michigan.
I think that with the number of teams that are undefeated, I don't think there's a chance.
Yeah, there's no way.
Well, so USC has Notre Dame next week. Notre Dame has catapulted themselves back into the rankings. All right, so not a game. That game is at home, and then they play whoever in the Pac-12 championship game. So that could potentially get them out. LSU would play Texas A&M and Georgia. So Texas A&M or LSU conceivably is going to lose another game. All right. And then you have, so then that could potentially get, let's see, USC, if they lost to Notre Dame, depending on how that loss went, who knows? Like,
I think we would want USC to beat Notre Dame, because then that kicks Notre Dame out of the conversation. You want LSU to lose to Georgia, because that kicks them out of the conversation. Then you would want either one of the Ohio State or Michigan is going to lose next week, and then they have a Big Ten championship, right? So the winner of that game would play in the Big Ten championship, and you'd need them to lose. But those would still just be 1-loss teams.
But really, in the situation you're creating,
it's not possible.
It could only potentially open up one spot, and to think that there's one Pac-12 team in USC with 1 loss, how impossible it is already for them to get in the top 4 makes it that much more impossible for Oregon to even make it through the top 4, because if there's any 2 lost teams that's going to get the benefit of the doubt, it'd be Alabama.
You think, though, without them even being in their conference championship?
Not in my eyes. I'm just saying in the committee's eyes.
Can I give you a consolation prize?
I mean, I was just curious. I don't think it's possible, but sure.
No, so this is the consolation prize, because like Georgia and Ohio State, if they win 1 and 2, TCU continues to win. They end up being number 3. But if Oregon beats Ohio State or Oregon State this weekend, then they will go on into the Pac-12 championship game against USC. USC would conceivably be the 4th team at that point.
If they win.
They knock them out. If Oregon knocks USC...
That would feel very nice.
That you're not getting into the playoff, but you're preventing USC from getting into the playoff.
And that's a Rose Bowl.
That's a Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowls are nice.
And that's a Rose Bowl. So, but then you have no Pac-12 representation.
But, and I don't hate USC that much to be like...
I do.
What they do to you?
Do you hate them so much that you don't want Pac-12 representation? Because I think that in the long run, it's good to have that. It gives everybody, better chance.
I guess like my college hatred goes back because that was like the Pete Carroll days.
Yeah,
just getting your ass handed to you by USC every year.
Imagine,
really frustrating. Like the first Oregon broke out their All Blacks against USC on Halloween night against Matt Barkley, and it was just like,
it was bad,
fucking incredible. It was.
Imagine there's a sliver of hope that Oregon gets the 4th spot, and we are back to Oregon, Georgia in the playoffs, 1 and 4.
Yeah, no thanks.
I mean, it's. Do you think it would be any different with USC? I think it's more about. I'm not necessarily worried about. Well, obviously, I'm worried about winning games. I don't want to say that. That's a bad thing to say in context. But the representation is always good. Money, more opportunities there.
We did talk about the fact that you had, we're talking about Oregon as a number 10 team. It's because they beat Utah. Mm-hmm. And all week, it was looking like Bo Nix was not going to play. In fact, one of the players, Chris Hudson, was like, oh, yeah, next man up. We're getting ready for Ty Thompson to be the guy. Bo Nix comes in at a game-time decision. I had Utah on the sheet just because of the uncertainty, and I was like, I'm going to change back to Oregon now that I know that Bo's going to play. But he's 1 play away from not, He was good, But, he gets bopped, and all of a sudden he's down. Ty Thompson in the rest of the game. Utah has been dominant against Oregon the last year or whatnot. So it was like, what do you do there? All of a sudden, Oregon looks like a team that a defense that has not really stopped many, at least through the air, was able to limit Utah. And I don't know what Utah was thinking there. Why wouldn't you prepare for Bo? Because you don't really need to prepare for Ty Thompson.
Was that the question for that game? It was like, were we sitting there thinking Bo plays, Utah's fucked. Bo doesn't play, Utah wins? Because that's not how I was looking at it.
That's not necessarily.
I thought the game was so I'm not going to sit here and not give Oregon any credit, especially their defense, but mother of God, how many chances in the red zone did Utah get?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was honestly, it was all Oregon's defense.
Yeah. What the fuck happened?
And it was good because I think last week that was really my thing is with with that Washington game, it was the defense looked terrible. That was kind of one of our strengths building into the season as we got more consistent and we were winning games. It was because our defense was doing well and Bo was slinging and making it happen. And then that Washington game, the defense did not show up at all, and it was good to see them bounce back here and hold Utah, which is a very, very good team, to a minimal amount of points.
I mean, if Utah converted even half of the red zone opportunities they had,
it would have been trouble.
That would have been a 35-21 game, which was what I was expecting getting it leading up to that game.
But yeah, they played really well. I was very, very happy. I was honestly sad that I couldn't go to that game like I hoped I would, but it was okay. Friendsgiving was great, and the Ducks got a win, baby.
Before we get to Miguel's punishment for the night, there is one coaching rumor that has been out there, and that is Lane Kiffin possibly going from Ole Miss to Auburn.
No.
And there is a game on, is it on Halloween or is it, you have the Egg Bowl between Mississippi and Mississippi State.
Halloween?
No.
Thanksgiving?
No. What is Ole Miss football?
You just said a game on Halloween. That's why I said that.
Oh, on Thanksgiving. Sorry. Yeah, my bad. So the Egg Bowl is on Thanksgiving, and there was a rumor going around. Lane Kiffin's name has been attached to Auburn for as long as Brian Harsin has been without a job. And possibly to set up, the Iron Bowl between Lane Kiffin, who, resurrected his career under Nick Saban and everything. But there was a report that came out today that said, and this was from a local TV guy, that said that Lane Kiffin plans to step down after the Egg Bowl and will become the coach for Auburn. And then Lane Kiffin decides to quote tweet that guy and says, I don't know where you're getting your sources, man, but that's not happening, and he's never really deviated from that. And I love that too, that he is interacting with the report on Twitter that is saying that he's actually going to Auburn. But he took it one step further tonight as well. And he posted this piece of paper, and he tweeted it out, and it says, "This just in, breaking news. John Sokoloff," which was the reporter of WCBI News of Starksville, Mississippi, plans to step down as the lead anchor and head to WLOX to become their lead anchor. Sources say WLOX hasn't offered the job to anyone yet. So John to WLOX is happening. Story soon.
You got Kiffin.
So
he's not going anywhere.
No.
I don't think he is. I think we talked about this, whether it was on here or just personally, within the last couple weeks. And it's he has ingratiated himself so well into that Ole Miss job. Yeah. It's I feel like it'd be so dumb to go to Auburn. I think that's such a lateral move.
It's a lateral move.
And it's for him to do that would be dumb. But the reason I put it on the sheet is because of the response he gave. That's why the whole little interaction was pretty funny.
Has worked his ass off to get recruits coming there next year.
Yeah.
And he's only a season, maybe 2 away from getting Ole Miss back to being more successful than they have been. Pin this fucking episode. He's not going to Auburn. Lanning's going to Auburn. I promise you, Lanning is out of Oregon and he's going to Auburn.
How much you want to
promise you.
I think you're
How much you want to bet?
I'll bet you 20.
Next year?
Next year, he's like after the season at Oregon, he's gone. He's going to Auburn.
Okay, $20.
Yeah.
I think that you're.
I'm not gonna shake that aggressively. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah. I think that you're half right.
He's absolutely he's gone.
I think you're half right.
To Auburn?
He's going to Auburn.
I don't know, brother.
Yeah.
When he signed to Oregon, I even said first chance he gets to go back to the SEC, he's going.
But the thing is that Harson's seat was already hot at that point.
Yeah,
like,
but
why wouldn't you just wait for a year? Just be the defensive coordinator for Georgia for one more year and then jump.
Regardless, he's out of Oregon. I'm gonna go specific with the bet and say he's going to Auburn. So I lose that if he becomes a DC somewhere. I'm just saying with.
Well, he's not going to take head coach to DC, but so you're saying that Lanning is going to be a head coach anywhere but Oregon next year? Or you're saying Auburn
No, I'm saying
year?
Auburn for the bet. I'm saying Auburn for the bet, but I'm just saying like he's out of Oregon. He's done at Oregon. He leaves. Bo Nix is gone. So what's he finished this? He was gonna.
But
he's
he came to Oregon without Bo Nix. That was after. It's not like he was like, oh, Bo, let's do this together. Let's make this run.
I'm not saying they teamed up, but that was.
But yeah, I don't think Bo Nix has anything to do with his decision to go or leave. But why would I don't know. I agree with Peter. Like you kind of knew that position was going to become available here pretty soon. You're already within the conference. Like why wouldn't you just wait it out?
Auburn is so like trigger happy with their coaches, like they got rid of Malzahn and they're like, we could do better. And then they bring in Brian Harsin and then they go, we could do. This podcast has gone through 2 head coaches from Auburn so far. They have paid out like $50 million for guys to not coach there anymore. It's absurd. Like, why would you put yourself through that as a coach to be like, God, like I know that this situation is stressful enough, but now I've got people who will buy me out if I just if I
think
can't
about how
right away.
Think about how often we talk about coaches that are available and jobs that are available. Anytime any of these like underlings have a chance to coach against their mentor, they go. They always fucking go. Anybody that's under Saban that has a chance to play against him, they go. He's going to be going.
So Bill O'Brien then?
Anyone Bill O'Brien playing against Georgia, playing against Alabama. They always take it. They always take the fucking job.
Yeah. Well, my PTSD says you're right, but my hope and heart says you're wrong.
I would say that a Bill O'Brien is more likely to be a head coach at Auburn than Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the quick changes with Cristobal and even Taggart, it was like good riddance, whatever. But it's like they were from there, they were alumni. There was a lot more pulling them back. I just don't know. I don't quite see Lanning just after 1 year being like, oh, I want to go back to the SEC because I want to play, Georgia. I want to play, these bigger teams. Like, I feel like he's going to stick it out and, give it at least 3 years. But I guess we'll see.
You'll see.
Other potentials.
Like I said, the PTSD is in the back of my head. It's like, yeah, he might as well be
There
going
have
right
been
now.
rumors about Deion Sanders, not necessarily to Auburn, but he is like one of the contenders, at least from a betting perspective, that he could get there. Just being the head guy to recruit there. He doesn't have to be an incredible, game manager, clock manager, whatever. You just have to be the best recruiter.
Well, he has 2 head coaching offers right now. It's South Florida and I forget the other one.
Yeah. I mean, he will be desired just from his marketability to wherever he
the
goes.
thing with
And Jackson State 11-0.
That's the thing with Deion Sanders is he didn't take the coaching job at Jackson State because he needed money.
Yeah.
What that guy has done for that program and for HBCU is more than what anyone could fucking pay him. He's literally brought so much attention to that league. Now his son is like a fucking Heisman front runner. for whatever he could win. I don't know what division Jackson State in as far as
but
you know what I mean. They're undefeated. You hear about Jackson State. When's the last time you heard about Jackson State or Alabama State? Anyone that they play. Yeah. I mean, he's brought so much notoriety to that league, to that school. He's not doing that so an Auburn could say, hey, primetime, we'll give you $70 million for 5 years. Like, you think he needs that fucking money?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been like, I don't know if you guys follow him closely, but he's with Barstool, so I see his stuff all the time. And he, like, that's what he preaches. Like, he does. It's not just about football. The stuff that he does for that community and the people there, and
he doesn't seem like a guy who can be bought, right?
No,
you know,
well,
and I think that's
because he's fucking prime time.
Yeah,
he's priceless.
Right.
There's so much of the move that he did to coach at Jackson State that's very, like, community based and family based. Like, he gets to coach his son. He gets to spend time with his son. He does a lot for that community, that neighborhood. All of that shit. Like, everything has been positive, that move that he made there. So I don't necessarily think that he's gotten to 11-0 and brought all this attention so he can make the jump and be like, I'll take the money.
And
like,
I think too, like,
there's so much sponsorships and fucking.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is his youngest son has one more year.
Okay, I get that. I also think too that it's like he has the autonomy. Right, I imagine that he has a lot of leeway, and like the moment that like a booster or someone within the athletic department comes in and we're to tell him this is how Auburn does it, he goes, I don't know, I don't think so. I don't think you're gonna tell. This hasn't worked for you recently. You're not gonna tell me how to run. But there's so much money there, right? Like a lot of these guys, the Auburns and the Texases, can't get out of their own way for.
I think that's what's gonna happen is you're gonna have somebody like Primetime deal with fucking boosters at a powerhouse football school.
Yeah, so let
and
me
they're gonna butt
stay
heads
back this way and still love coaching.
I mean, you can look ahead in the big picture. 8 months from now, you're gonna butt heads, and they're either gonna get rid of you or you're gonna want out because you don't want to deal with them anymore. So why make that jump?
Why even?
Yeah, because right now I would say that Deion probably has more power than the president or dean of that school. Like, what he says goes. Because obviously he's brought so much, like you said, notoriety, attention, money to that team, that school, that city. I'm sure they're begging him to stay.
Yeah, there's probably just like a cabal of donors who are trying to sway things one way or another at these big schools, and that's why things aren't really working out. It's like just give people the time, like if you give guys a full recruiting cycle. At least give everyone from like a freshman to senior, give them 4 years. Every coach should be given that opportunity. If it doesn't work at that point, you think you're going to do it after 1 year. It's just not going to work out. Like Brian Harsin came from, Boise State. Boise State runs a very particular way. Now he's coming to the SEC. You're gone within 2 years? Well, no wonder. Like he's a very different coach.
Bringing a Mountain West guy to the SEC thinking it's going to work right away.
Yeah, so
Good
I mean, like,
luck.
okay, so then just bring in another SEC guy. Just be, like, incestuous and nepotistic and just, like, bring people within the conference, right?
I tell you what, Lanning will bring Auburn back.
Yeah, sure he would.
He's a great coach.
So
the fat guys are on the field.
Fat guys are on the field. So, all right, Miguel, it is time for you to be punished.
I will say, I said this to Miguel earlier. I think this is just as bad as the blood. If not, maybe. I think the funniest part of this punishment is the lengths at which Peter went to acquire this. I guess it's not that hard, an online order, but whatever.
So it's not the other thing you purchased with the blood. Probably reserving that for you.
I mean, I'm glad he didn't reserve this for me. I don't know if I could do it. But I
was kind of hoping you would lose because I wanted to see the other one. I think you would have.
I'll probably lose again. Don't worry. But yeah, you don't really struggle with eating things. And so I'm curious.
Before you present this to me, I want to tell you that Ashley looked up the punishment we did last week, and it was not very safe.
Really?
Like Braxton could have gotten a word that starts with a T. It's like trichono something from eating raw blood, because that's usually cooked like as a stew.
So you guys have done that twice now.
We've fed you blood once.
You've fed me something raw that was supposed to be cooked, and I could have gotten sick, and you tell me after.
Oh, I don't think anything could have happened to you with a balut.
Yeah, we looked it up. It could have given me salmonella.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so twice.
And no, I'm positive this is not going to get you sick.
Yeah, that is true. So
this is something that's I've seen eaten in other scenarios.
Will I throw up?
I don't know.
It's possible we will keep.
We do
that
have
thing
the pail
over
is it
there.
As bad as garlic and green onions?
No. Again, I think this is going to be a mental thing. Why don't you just tell me?
Well. Okay, so there is a theme. I've been working on this punishment for a while because I knew it was going to take some legwork. All right.
Okay. While you explain it, I'll give Mike a blowjob.
So, the things that went through my brain as to like what could I potentially make? If I start with like a theme of I heard we've already had you drink one terrible cocktail, which was the cement mixer, right? This is kind of where that was bred from, which was just like two things that shouldn't go together, like lime and Bailey's, right? That was like curdled and everything or whatever. So it got me to, as I was looking up other things, I saw there was another shot. There was a thing called a cum shot.
Oh my God, really? Fuck you.
You ever heard of a cum shot before? Traditionally, it is with like...
If this is real cum, we are crossing the line.
It's not...
But real blood is not?
It's not real...
Blood is not... What you had is not bodily fluid.
So, okay.
It is the body fluid
of a fucking animal. You don't...
Right.
You're,
okay.
Are you going to put pork blood next to jizz?
No, so hold on
pork
here.
Jizz?
Hold on. That is... So what I was able to acquire was not human semen, but the semen of a swine.
Acquire where? Where could you have possibly
I told
DoorDash
you he ordered it
the
online.
jizz of a fucking
online.
pig?
I have this up. There is this website. I can't shout them out here, but there is and it has different types of animals of which you can buy doses
How do you know it's real?
It came in
great
a package.
reviews.
Great reviews.
How
5
much did
stars.
you pay for it?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that. All right. So,
Don't
okay.
tell me if it's like...
And so then I looked at it's fine.
It's all legit.
It's all legit, and you're not going to die. So the traditional cum shot cocktail is Fireball. Shout out Fireball, by the way, next week. Jimmy's Bar and Grill live show. Free-ish shots.
Yeah.
And then there's this rum cream. Well, I wanted to take that up a little bit more.
So it's fucking Fireball and the pig jizz.
Correct.
First of all, that's not a shot.
Okay, well, you don't have to drink the whole thing.
I am this close to going Braxton.
You
know,
go get him that.
When he sits on the throw and he goes, look, I'm actually gonna go Braxton. He's gonna go, guys, I said this. I've been saying this.
And haven't I been saying it? And you guys don't fucking listen.
Yeah.
And it always is me that has to take the next step up and do the next worst thing. And guess what? Now it's you.
It only feels like that because you're kind of a bitch. And a lot more things bother you.
How does it feel to be in this position where you feel kind of like a bitch because you don't want to fucking drink pig jizz?
I mean, I'm going to do it.
You're going, yeah.
But doesn't it suck feeling like this? Because you know you have to, or else you're going to be a bitch.
Yeah. So traditionally, again, Fireball and like a rum cream. I did add a little.
Why is it yellow?
From the fireball. So the fireball is like a brown red, and then you have the jizz. So then it's. So then and then I put a little bit of like a coconut cream in there. No, so just to kind of help it along.
Okay, what are all the ingredients in this? Coconut cream, fireball, and the pig jizz.
And pig jizz, correct.
And how? And
you want to film this?
And when you ordered this shit, what did it come in? Was it like a plastic jar? What is it?
It was like a Tupperware.
Yeah, it was like
one of the. It was almost similar to like one of like the weed cartridges.
Yeah,
kind of, but like with a twist cap.
Correct.
How much of that is in here?
All of it.
How much pig jizz though?
Oh, I don't. I think there was,
probably like a half ounce.
Yeah, it came in milliliters.
Did you smell it?
Yeah, it smelled like jizz.
Which it smelled like nothing.
Hold on.
You're probably not going to be able to taste it,
right?
Because
Like
he put so much shit in it.
Because he had to do breast milk too. So I mean,
that's fine. It's just
and it's been eaten on Fear Factor and stuff. Because when he first brought this up to me, I was like, dude, is this like even safe? I Googled it. Multiple people have eaten it. It's good for your testosterone.
Oh, so it's actually good for me?
Mm-hmm. Pound it.
Man. Guys, we're crossing the line. Guys, we're no longer digging our hands in shit. We're drinking pig cum now.
We're drinking pig cum. Here we go.
This is pig jizz.
Bottoms up.
Whoa, baby. I mean, this really is just all a mental thing. Like, I'm about to put cum in my mouth.
That's what I was saying. It probably won't even taste like it.
Yeah. You'll probably just taste fireball, but it's cummy. That's a lot of...
We're still going. You like it? He loves
like that
it.
Pig jizz?
He loves it.
You like that pig
No,
jizz?
for my own pride, I just wanted to finish it. I ain't no bitch.
Miguel, there's no pig jizz in that.
There's no jizz
There's
in that
no
at
pig
all.
jizz.
There's no jizz in that at all.
Loser.
Fuck you. There's no jizz in that at all.
Well, don't I win if there's no pig jizz?
Well, we
I
still
guess.
gotcha.
Yeah. It was the mental aspect.
It was the mental
There's
aspect.
no
Because
pig
we
jizz
know
in
we
it.
can't get you with anything. You're so fucking stonewall.
But you know
to
what?
Everything.
What website did you pull up?
We literally planned this entire thing before we told you. While you were outside smoking, I was like, we have to have a backstory.
And
He's
we've
gonna
just
ask.
been riffing off of each other this whole time.
So
we didn't have a plan.
you didn't come up with this just now. You had to come up with a backstory while I was outside.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, like, I don't think I've lost the fact that there's no pig jizz, but when you told me it was good for me, I had accepted it.
He's like,
It's good for your.
I'm gonna be so rock hard tonight.
I was gonna wake Ashley up at 2 in the morning.
I'm revved up. I have pictures in me.
I was gonna put on my pig mask, but like, guess what I had tonight?
I'm glad Pete didn't give in. Good job, Pete.
I mean, he drove it with the fucking website. I saw pigs on the website.
I had to Google it. Yeah.
I know. We were talking about it, and I was like, well, where would you get it? And he was like, I'll look it up. And he's like, yeah, we can definitely get it online.
Yeah, like you can buy samples. This is very true. But
So
it's
that's
for
actually a pig cum website?
Yeah. It's a pigcom website, but it's for like breeding purposes, not
and it's
ingesting.
like $500 an ounce.
I guess I should have known that when I asked how it came, and you said it's like a weed cartridge, that there's no way it would have came in that.
But it had
like
a twist
little
top.
Yeah, oh my God.
I was trying to make it like obscure enough that you wouldn't really think about it.
Yeah. Oh. And what's funny too is like he goes, oh, we play things up like, like punishments aren't that bad where they really are. But afterwards you go, oh, I don't know, I just drank pig cum. I don't want any pig cum in that.
Man, yeah, you got me.
Oh, goodness. I'm glad that went as well as it did.
Mental torture is a fun punishment for him.
Well, and it's like I said, it's like the only thing we can get you with is when you thought we were going to scare you, and when we convinced you.
That was one of the worst nights.
When we convinced you that you're going to be drinking.
I don't know why, for some reason, that when the lights shut off, that I thought that you planted shit to pop up everywhere.
I know now
and
that
I was on edge the whole fucking time.
Now that we have video, we can't do that.
We can't turn any lights off.
Oh goodness!
What a
great.
beautiful ending to that.
I mean if you are trying to impress someone by making them that cocktail, it's very pig jizzy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't offer that to anyone.
So I'll tell you what was in it. Okay, so there was Fireball and there was coconut cream.
I can taste the coconut cream.
The thing that made it extra jizzy was the orgeat. Orgeat. It's what you would put in like a Mai Tai to help sweeten something.
What'd you call me?
So that was the third.
It had a
ingredient.
very island vibe.
Yeah, I'm sure it was pretty good.
It was probably very sweet as well.
No.
So no pig jizz.
And I'm glad we thought of that because originally he was just going to give you the cum shot and be like, "Oh, this is a shot that looks like cum." I'm like, "That's not a punishment, Peter. We have to figure out."
He took it over. So
make it a punishment. Pete loves just giving you games and good drinks for your punishment.
What would you have given me if it was just a cum shot?
The punishment was that the drink looked like cum. That was Peter's punishment. It just looked like it.
He added the mental torture side.
And I was like, Peter, you're just serving him a cocktail.
I needed help. You took it over, and I love that.
And we did
That's
it.
why
we
did
did
this.
it.
And we collaborated.
Nice job.
My prediction was way off. But I can't tell you my prediction because it's still a possible punishment.
Oh, of what you thought your punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Well,
I thought it had something to do with the other thing you purchased when you bought the blood.
Gotcha.
And
No, that's still reserved for him.
But I was so convinced that it was going to be that, which is why I said, oh, I'm not going to play it up if it's that. Because I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of it.
No, yeah, I would not give you that, and we can't tell him about that. But yes, next week,
really a punishment for
Tuesday,
you.
November 29th at 6 p.m.
Be there.
Jimmy's Sports Bar and Grill will attach it in all of our bios and.
Oh, that's our next episode now.
Yes,
It just hit me.
And then
Next
after
Tuesday.
that, we are going to be changing studios. We are moving for Christmas time at least.
Is this our last recording on this studio?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yes.
We have gotten so successful that we are leasing a place now.
Yeah. A garage.
A garage.
But yeah,
Attached to my
au revoir
house.
to the original set.
To the OG.
Has gotten us this far, 2.5 seasons.
On God.
On God.
I mean, don't forget about the office and the other living room.
Yes. This
But
is
are
setup
we
number
saying
3.
that next episode outside of the live show, the viewers will be seeing some poofy poofersons?
That's probably all they're gonna see.
That's all they're gonna see. Yeah.
Finally.
3 seasons into this, and Miguel can finally start
I'm gonna be drinking or bringing 5 joints a episode.
Yeah. He's driving every time.
Liddy committee.
We will see you all next week at Jimmy's Sports Bar and Grill. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Clear eyes.
Everyone. Try again.
Tresspassin. Clear eyes.
Lord.
Can't lose. Woo.